straight people of Reddit. When and how did you realize that you like the opposite sex? It wasn't a gradual realization for me. I was sitting, bored, in a 6th grade class, when I thought, I wonder if I still think girls are gross, followed immediately by, I wonder if I am gay, so I imagined myself kissing Mike, a hot piece of 6th grade male ass on my right. No, that was disgusting. Then I imagined myself kissing Clarissa, on my left, and this started the most intense and all-consuming crush I've ever had, or ever will have. It was FNG magical. When I would kiss my pillow pretending it was Princess Jasmine. I had a crush on a girl in kindergarten that stayed through 7th grade. I didn't have any explanation or reason behind the feelings in kindergarten. I just knew I wanted to be around her and I wanted her attention. I don't remember ever not knowing that I liked girls in a different and stronger way than I felt about any boy. Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin. Weird, but it did something for me. Weird, straight female here and she did something for me too. I feel like most girls look at women the way I suspect gay men do. They can look at a chick and be like, she is hot, but if you put a vagina in front of me I wouldn't want my face anywhere near it and it would put me off completely. Edit. Check my phone and there's at least 4 dudes telling me same for dudes. Same for some straight men. Though I suspect it's not as common. Not trying to get near any yikes, but sometimes I see a dude with a jawline and A+ stubble and I'm like, I get it. Ryan Reynolds. We all get it. Around age 10 or 11, I lost the ability to speak coherently to girls I found attractive but still had the urge to try despite the awkwardness. I was pretty young, like 5 or 6, something like that. My parent put on Cartoon Network but didn't notice when its runtime or whatever was over and the channel switched to showing movies. One of the movies had this nude scene in it. I don't remember much of what it was about. I just remember there was a naked lady tied up to a chair. Anyways, the moment I saw that lady's boobs I was like, yep, I gotta get my hands on a pair of those. 3 years old watching TV and a model came on and I tried to kiss the TV. When I was 10 and found an underwear magazine in the mail. Yes, before the internet, underwear models and catalogs got me through puberty. For me it was the fashion channel, where girls go on the catwalk all the time. Sometimes the tops were transparent and you could see titties. Back in my day we didn't have that. Naughty newspapers on my paper round caused quite a stir though. We didn't have that. We used to draw naughty things on the cave wall and ooga booga. Must be nice. We used to splash in the primordial ooze in the shape of a protozoa. 11 years old, I was sitting in the drive-thru at El Polo Loco, and this girl walked by in 1990s spandex Jean shorts, and all I remember was a yes. Remember the scene where Catwoman straddles Batman after she overpowers him and then licks his mouth in Batman Returns? Yep, coincidentally, looking back I now realize it's probably one of the reasons why I'm one kinky beard nowadays. When I was 4 I saw a photo of Fabio. What followed was an exchange that went something like this. Mom, is that a man? Looking at his thighs, he looks like a tree. Yes, his name is Fabio. I like him a lot. I didn't know what X was when I first saw the movie Labyrinth, but I knew I wanted it with David Bowie. 5th grade, this new girl transferred to our school from somewhere else, and we ended up sitting next to each other in computer class. We were playing some silly game and trying to help each other, but neither of us was doing great. Something happened in the game that was really silly and we both started laughing. Watching her smiling and laughing like that was the start of my first real crush, and that's when I knew I liked girls. Princess Leia. In grade 4, we had this really hot social studies teacher. One time, she had the class do jumping jacks at the start of class for some reason. All dem jiggles. I remember looking at my friend beside me as this was happening, and we just nodded at each other from the joy of the scene that was before us. No prompting was required. We just knew that we both liked the ladies. There used to be a website called whitehouse.com. It was not a site dedicated to the White House. It was all. My friends and I quickly exited the window in shock, but I thought, I like that. My sister had Spice Girls on VHS. I was very interested in that movie. I can't remember what started it all, but when I was 3 years old I got caught kissing a girl under the pews at church during service. Like, we were kissing a lot. It's one of my earliest memories. LOL. P.S. I got in trouble. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, painted vans were a thing. People would buy a panel van and get someone to paint a garish, extravagant scene on it. X-wings, pterodactyls, dragons, etc. Sometimes all on the same van. My actual awakening happened when one of those vans happened to drive past and the mural was of a topless barbarian woman with a broad axe posing against a background of an exploding volcano under a storming sky, with lightning and fire all around. I was about 13. I would have been 9 or 10 and I had a day off school and was looking up game related stuff in the internet. My mum must have been watching some daytime TV show where they were talking about kids and on or something. So she came into me on the computer and asked if I knew what on was. When I said no, she said good and walked away. I felt like I had an obligation. What kind of cliffhanger is that? So I googled on. That was a fun day off. There's a moment in the Two Towers when Aragorn comes busting through double doors at Helm's Deep. Yeah, that moment. He's got a pretty big sword. He can have my axe any day. Kindergarten. Girl had her hair in a braid. I noticed it looked a certain way, but I didn't have the word to describe it. I asked my teacher to help me. Braid, she asked. No, I said. We went through 4 or 5 more words. After each no, she'd ask me to explain more. Eventually she figured out the word. Oh, she said, you think it's pretty? Yeah, I said she's pretty. That's actually adorable. When I was 4, I was obsessed with Star Trek. My reason? Because I was in love with Spock. Why did I love him? His ears and his logic. Ever since, I'm attracted to really smart men and oftentimes ones with features most women don't find attractive. I specifically remember in 1st grade I realized that boys and girls were different and I liked girls. I had no idea what X was at the time, so that's interesting. Not sure what it even was that I liked. Probably had my actual awakening the same time as anyone that grew up in the 80s. Gay or straight, David Bowie is Jareth in Labyrinth. David Bowie stands alone as a actual icon. One's own personal sexuality is irrelevant. The morning after having gay ex. Lucky you didn't get pregnant. Pregant. Progerginant. Girlfriend ain't had period since she got pregant. She ain't getting perjured. I had egg with BF, am I pregnant? I remember having girlfriends in kindergarten. Had no idea what I was doing. I just remember always loving the ladies. The girls started developing breasts and I couldn't look away. 40 years later, and I'm still hypnotized by boobies. Never had a realization, just always did, I guess. When I saw The Nanny on TV for the first time, really did it for me. The nanny named Fran. When I was a kid and all the other boys in my class went through the EWW girls, cooties, no girls allowed phase, I remember thinking, but that's stupid. Girls are pretty, we should want to be with them. Blossom and Bubbles did things to me. No love for Buttercup, poor Buttercup. Lola Bunny from Space Jam. Kindergarten. There was a girl in my class who I would just stare at all day and do everything to get her attention. I would spend a lot of time thinking about her and imagining our life together, us getting married, etc. It was textbook first crush puppy love and I never worked up the courage to talk to her. Years later in high school, she admitted that I was her first crush, and I felt so foolish for missing my shot. It took me a couple years after high school to realize that her telling me this was her wanting me to ask her out. She's married now. Men, we have no idea what women are thinking until many years later. In 4th grade I met a model and my dad's boss took a picture of me staring right at her boobs. When I was 5 years old, in kindergarten, I knew this girl, and I convinced her to go with me into the Unique's bathroom at nap time so we could try to make a baby. I thought making a baby meant laying on top of her and kissing her on the lips. Got caught by adults doing said act. Don't remember what punishment I received, if any. I thought boys were yucky, and I was so incredibly awkward that, although I had had the talk, I had decided that I was just never going to do that because A, it was gross, and B, somebody would have to see me naked and that could simply never happen. Then I was watching MTV. This is when they actually played videos, and an XS1 thing came on. I'm sitting there watching this guy crawl around on a table, pomegranates all over, and started to feel tingly. I didn't think boys were so yucky after that. It was like somebody flipped a switch. Whale tales in middle school. In 4th grade, many years ago, my crush then, my now husband, defended my honor when some dumb boy told me I was ugly and stupid after I beat him at Foursquare. My hubby jumped to my defense and said she's not ugly, she's beautiful, and I was instantly in love, and later at afternoon recess kissed his cheek behind the big play structure and we became inseparable. I did have a girl kiss me with tongue in college, and while her lips were very soft and she was a great kisser, I knew my heart was meant for a man and only one man at that. The man I married and have loved my whole life. I still want to punch his face when he snores, however. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to be entered into our iMac giveaway.